Welcome to this week's Terrace Bay Council meeting. First up, Council renewed its partnership with the Aguasabin Chamber of Commerce after a presentation from Jason Nesbitt. There was an update on the Tourist Information Center roof. Major repairs are needed after some hidden damage was found. And finally, Council named the new Student Councilor, who will be stepping in for the 2025-26 term. Now here's this week's agenda.
Tonight we have the motion for the agenda, moved by Councilor, who's the blue pen tonight? Councilor Webb, seconded by Councilor Dubé.
Yep.
Resolved that council approve the agenda for the regular council meeting held on October 20th, 2025, amended as follows. The addition of moving 6B, Aguasabin Chamber membership review to the top of the list, 6A. Additions of appointment of student councilor, and 6E, Roma delegations. Any questions, comments, amendments, deletions? All in favor? Here. And resolve that, moved by Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor Webb. Resolve that the minutes of the regular council meeting held October 6, 2025 be approved as presented. Any questions on the minutes? All in favor? Carries. Moved by Councilor Webb, seconded by Councilor Dubé. Resolved the minutes of the special council meeting held October 10th, 2025 be approved as presented. Any questions on those minutes? All in favor? Carried. All right, parts from administration, turn it over to our CEO tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First up, we moved the Aguasabin Chamber membership review to A under this. We discussed this, the membership, and we're bringing it forward to this meeting. I reached out to the chamber president to see if he wanted to come and say a few words with respect to the valuation of the value of the membership and what our two organizations can do for each other. So with that, Mr. Nesbitt, might jump to speak and
thank you.
Make your points.
Can you sit? You want me to stand? This is it?
Yes, sir.
Just because I'm on in another meeting at the same time, but also I'm doing double duty. So I did make some notes that John asked me to come and talk to you about, the importance and why the Township of Terrace Bay should be a chamber member. Obviously, most of you, I think, understand the mandate of the chamber is to promote and support local businesses. Partnerships more than ever in our current climate right now, obviously with the mill being down, a lot of the distress we're facing in Northern Ontario right now, partnerships are more crucial than ever. Basically, the biggest thing the chamber brings to the table for the township is collaboration. I hear, and I'm sure everyone around the table sort of, right? You get businesses in Terrace Bay, I never hear from anyone from the town. You go uptown and people say, I never hear anything from the chamber. It's the same thing as Stripe. But at the end of the day, if we all are doing our bits together to try and help support the business community, I mean, that's an important thing. The bonus the chamber brings is the chamber obviously having quite a few directors. There's lots of ears on the ground and whatnot. Ultimately, our job of fostering and growing businesses is to keep things positive and moving forward. We all know how well the coffee shop chat goes. That there's nothing positive going on. There's lots positive going on. One of the biggest things of some of the big events, as an example, like Winter Wonderland, which used to be the Moonlight Madness. So that's just an example of how the chamber's trying to keep our local business community, strong and still here. Business After Flag networking. I know a few of the councilors have been up to those events in the past. And again, it's just a good way, grassroots level to talk to the business people. Those events I always find super positive because it's, there's no real agenda and no one's afraid to talk to you, right? Because it's not really a professional setting, so to speak. The chamber in the last year have really been trying to support, so we've done a lot of prize giveaways that haven't cost the business community money. We did on Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, we did a fishing package, so we've done a lot of that stuff where the chamber ultimately buys the package from the business. Your only job is to go and shop at that business, right? So it's those are just some of the little things. One of the biggest things is Chamber Bucks. So everyone remembers the Chamber gift certificate program. Before that program wrapped up about 5 years ago, there was over $1 million that went back into our economy, which is huge. Like in a small community, small group like ours, that's a lot of money. The reality is banks don't make anything easy anymore. So the program was very easy before. It won't be easy now, but we're going to give it a good shot and try and make this a success. I think the business community needs it. Ultimately, it's the Township of Terrace Bay's biggest value in our partnership through your membership. It's just showing your support for membership. We do have lots of initiatives. Obviously the money we raise through our membership is what pays us to, I guess, exist, if you want to call it that. Advertising, prizes, whatever. The bonus the chamber has in the last little while is that we have a staff person now. Bryce St. Louis, we like him, right? Bryce St. Louis he's a very part-time employee of the chamber. But the reality is the chamber executive and directors, they all work full-time jobs, either own a business or work at a business, right? So time is obviously everyone's biggest factor that they don't have a lot of. So Bryce is kind of the man on the ground, and he's doing a lot of the dirty work for us. So it's helped out the chamber with a lot of the initiatives and whatnot. And that's where I guess when I look at the township and why should you be a member? I kind of compare it to like Superior Country. Township of Terrace Bay, I believe, pays a membership to Superior Country, right? You pay a membership because it's a good value, it's a good added value. So I like to think that that's kind of the same thing with the Chamber of Commerce, right? Together we are stronger, I always say. Some of the initiatives that we're hoping to start working for, especially with the Township of Terrace Bay, not that I want the cat right out of the bag, but we do want to start working with administration a little bit more on some initiatives like, kind of the shopping and supporting local. Scriber just unveiled its, I want to call it transient trader, the hawkers and peddlers bylaw. So we've been working with the Township of Scriber to kind of massage that a little bit because we want to make sure that our local businesses are protected. So it's no different than Terrace Bay. At some point, we want to, meet with, John and the administration. We've already had the chance to meet with Katie. Poor Katie's first week on the job. We thought we'd get our claws in order and kind of caress her just to share some ideas. Again, it's just, we want to make sure our businesses here are supported and survive, right? The example there is, someone comes from out of town with a trailer or whatever they come with, right? They don't pay a fee to be here. They don't hire anyone here. They take all the money out of town. We got to protect our local businesses, right? We don't want any fun stuff coming from out of town for sure, but we need to make sure that the Township of Terrace Bay is benefiting from when they're here for sure. So that's my spiel. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. I was hoping to have a few more tonight, and of course, it's my phone blew up 20 minutes ago. Something come up here. Thanks a lot.
So really appreciate you coming in, Jason, and appreciate you responding to John's request. I was one of the ones that responded to the email, and the registration came across their desk and said, I think it'd be really beneficial for us to hear from the chamber. But before I speak my questions from council, I want to hear from you if there's any questions you have for listeners for this night.
I guess the only thing I'd really like to know is that I'm glad you bring in the chamber bucks program.
Yeah.
I thought that was really successful when it ran before. It was a shame that this is good news to hear it come back. What's your rollout goal? Are you hoping to have it in place before the end of this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in the next, I think the posters are going out like this week.
Okay.
The plan is we're going to start just the challenge ultimately now is selling. It was nice when the mill would call and say, I'll take 25 grand worth, right?
Right.
So we're looking at selling them at the Moonlight Madness event.
Okay.
They're doing something at Home Hardware the beginning of November, I believe it is, the first Saturday in November. We're going to sell them there. So we're going to have a few events where we're selling them at. And then the other push, and as cheap as I am, and I never like spending money, I wanted, so basically for every $100 you buy, you get a free $10 gift certificate. So, it might cost the chamber a little bit of money for the first month here to kind of get this off the ground, but I think it's important that we do it. And basically, in the short term, it'll probably be just for sale outside of those events through the chamber. So you'll be contacting myself, Bryce, Carrie, Kelly, one of them kind of thing. Years ago, I know like the Township of Terrace Bay sold them, Bank of Montreal sold them. It turns into a little bit of an accounting and logistics, I don't say nightmare, but it kind of creates more work. But if that's something potentially in the future we can look at doing, ultimately we want to make sure this program is a success, right?
Yeah. I love, I hope we have them available here in a little while, because I would love to see the program they had before where they were using
Safety
the
box.
safety
Yeah,
box, right?
yeah.
And then they gave you a choice between whatever. Most people, I believe, took the chamber
Yeah.
box, which was really cool.
Yeah. And the nicest thing is, again, like I said, I mean, you get your Visa gift card, you can head wherever you want in the world, right?
Yeah.
The chamber buck,
Chamber bucks.
you're here.
Yeah, and that was the thing I really liked, was my safety now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our biggest benefactor, that why LCBO became a member. Corporate wouldn't let them, but they made it work here.
But yeah, that's
Councilor
good.
Weber, Councilor Dubé,
Or just Jason, actually, I'm bringing the chamber views to us, and that was my feedback also. It's a benefit for the Township of Terrace Bay to be in partnership with the chamber, because who better than you people supporting our own, that's what we're driving. And I did also make a phone call to Mayor Mooney there, and I asked him point blank, I said, "You a member?" He said, "Absolutely we are." He says, "Who better than support, the people that are trying to support us?" So, I mean, I believe it's a step in the right direction, absolutely. I'm just thankful that you came here and gave us a little bit of explanation. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say, anyway, thanks for coming, number one. And then just quickly, I think, and Councilor Dubé is gonna speak more to this, is we just wanted to talk to you. We wanted to connect. It's been, I'm coming up on 3 years, and I've been to one chamber meeting. And again, you mentioned time, and want to try to get to as many meetings as I can, but again, my schedule and my life. I'm glad you're here. We wanted you to be here so we could have this relationship and build on this relationship. And I think Councilor Dubé will probably speak more to that. So I'll give it over to him. And if there's something else I want to add after, I'll go ahead. So please.
yeah, it pretty well sums up pretty good. Really appreciate the collaboration, right? And, we support our businesses. We want to see our businesses thrive. Having a chamber is one of the best avenues to do that. We just want to recognize that it's not just a document we sign as a membership. Because as a partnership collaboration, I said, if we can reach out and have them join us for a meeting, like just to have the conversation, because really want to hear from you and how, and we have a great administrative team that you can work with, and some of those partnerships and how we can be involved with the chamber to make it successful. It's been a restart. Thankful for that. Thankful for you and the team. It's been a bumpy road. It's probably a nice way to say it. So appreciate the work you guys are doing. Really, really thankful, and really appreciate you coming in and.
And just that, sorry, don't have to cut you off,
Yeah.
just so that the councilors realize too, like obviously Terrace Bay does have the Economic Development Committee. So I mean, I talked very briefly and very informally with Horace Prager quite a few times. Every time he's in the shop, he's in my office and the door is closed, and we have some pretty frank discussions. So it's we are unofficially and kind of already working with the town on that committee's capacity. The same things happen in Scribe. We've been in the Economic Development Committee a few times, because again, I mean, we all have the same goal, right? So yeah.
Yeah, so just, I really just wanted to say this isn't just a one way, we give you money and they say, have your way, but it's really one the collaboration and partnership. So we really appreciate coming in, Jason.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Thanks, much appreciated. Cool. Go ahead and join your other meeting and
I'm here again. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
So our motion tonight from Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor Webb, resolved that council approve the renewal of the township's membership to the August Auburn Chamber for 2025 to 2026. Any final questions or discussion on that? Sounds good. All in favor? Scared. Thank you. Local government week.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is local government week. It runs from the 19th through the 25th. So for some reason it started on a Saturday, but anyway,
You said that last year too.
yeah. So we've kind of been growing this slowly here at the township. I think the first year we passed a resolution just signifying local government week. Last year we passed a resolution and had coffee with council. This year we're passing a resolution, hopefully, having coffee with council on Thursday. And also I have a presentation and a tour of the water plant with one of the high school classes on Friday. So I believe, you may join me on that, which is all council's welcome, of course. So as again, just recognizing the significance of this week for our municipality, we have great staff, great council, and just all the good work that local government brings to the community. So.
All good?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
Thanks, John. So, motion moved by Councilor Webb, seconded by Councilor Dubé, whereas October 19th, 2025 is Local Government Week in Ontario, an opportunity to reflect on the vital services delivered by municipal governments. And whereas municipal governments play a vital role in helping define the character, priorities, physical makeup, and quality of life of communities across Ontario. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Councilor Gary Duno, acting mayor, and on behalf of Mayor Malashewski and the Township of Terrace Bay Council, do hereby join with partners such as the Association of Municipal Managers, Clerks, and Treasurers of Ontario in acknowledging and celebrating the work of local municipalities by proclaiming October 19th, 2025 as Local Government Week in the Township of Terrace Bay. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Sale of surplus land, 6C.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the subject property was authorized to be listed with W. Christie Remax Generations Realty at the May 6th, 2024 meeting. The asking price was set at $30,000. Section 3 of Bylaw 33, 2007, being a bylaw that established procedures for the sale of real property states, clerk shall be responsible for obtaining one or more appraisal prior to consideration of council of a bylaw to sell, except in such cases where the appraisal is not required by the act and not in the opinion of the clerk advisable in the circumstances. So this is kind of my usual spiel. We've gone through the process of getting appraisals before. It took 6 months to get one on a single parcel of property and cost us, quite a bit of money to get that done. So a number of factors lead to the opinion that obtaining appraisal is not advisable in this situation. The asking price is appropriate, and these include historical value, successive sales of vacant township owned lots, previous experience with costs and obtaining an appraisal, as I just spoke to, in a timely manner, advice from our realtor, and the current real estate market in Terrace Bay Scarborough area. So under current discussion, while there's been an on-again, off-again interest in this property, this is the first offer brought through to completion. So as I said, this has been listed since May 6th of 2024. The offer of 20,000 is below the council approved listed price of 30, which is essentially why it's coming to council in the way it is. Administration is recommending that the sale proceed given the lack of interest in the property with a listings period of time. Financial implications, the 20 in revenue was not included in the 2025 budget, as all properties have been listed for quite some time and it's unknown how many will sell in a given year or for how much. So the options are that council accept the offer of 20,000 from 777628 Ontario Limited for the surplus property roll number 103301 Plan M225 Lot 10 South Camp Road, and the appropriate bylaw authorizing the sale agreement be brought forward. Option B is that, or option 2 is that council not accept the offer of 20,000 from the numbered company for the subject property and direct administration to negotiate further. Option C is that council not accept the offer for surplus property and direct administration otherwise. The recommendation is administration is option A to sell property.
Thank you. Any questions on discussion?
I agree.
Motion moved by Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor St. Louis. Resolved that council accept the offer of $20,000 from 777628 Ontario Limited for the surplus property roll number 5854000000103301, Plan M225 Lot 10 South Camp Road. That the appropriate bylaw authorizing the sale agreement be brought forward. That the appropriate bylaw authorizing the sale agreement. Sorry, say that twice. It's printed twice. Any final questions? All in favor? Stop. Later. I think that was a joke for my benefit. And item D. Student Councilor.
Thank you, Your Worship. So it was brought to my attention. I already posted the agenda, so this is the reason for the addition. Councilor Dubé and I discussed at a previous meeting about rebooting the Student Council program. Councilor Dubé, I suggested Councilor Dubé start the outreach at the high school, which he did, thankfully. And we were able to attract an interested candidate, and I would open the floor up to Councilor Dubé to speak further on the candidate that we have attracted.
Yeah, so I approached Marley McGrath. For me, it was a good fit. She's involved in a lot of school-related activities, sports, academically strong, and very involved with Métis Nation as well. She spent the weekend, they flew her to Huntsville to participate in like a moose camp there. So she's been actively involved in a lot of activities that way. And I figured that where I see her going, if she's remaining strong with the Métis Nation, to have that kind of background, like to learn the sort of like municipal politics through us and have these experience. And potentially, I know I spoke with Ray Lake as well out of Marathon, and he's sort of the mentor for their student counselors as well. And they, if I'm not mistaken, they go to NOMA as well. And Ray Lake, or Councilor Lake, brings them there. So to have similar opportunities and professional growth for her at this young age is a great opportunity. And she right away, she was really interested. And so my plan is this upcoming week, we do have a policy around student counselors. And I printed it out, I gave it to her. I said, your homework when you're done harvesting the moose is to go through this. And we'll sit down and we'll talk about stuff. And then again, like we'll be able to, I'll show her like an agenda, like how things go, and then she can sit through it with us and sort of gain this, like have this experience. And I mentioned to her, one of her hesitancies is she is involved in lots of things. I said it's every other Monday, and it's only till June. If you want to continue on the year after, you know, you can, but potentially we could look at somebody else just to, you know, spread out the experience as well. So, and she was receptive to that as well, because she's going to be working in the summer. So I'm hoping, again, I added this a little bit late just because of the conversations that I had with her, so that she could attend next council meeting at the beginning of November.
Cool. Thank you, Councilor Dubé. Bill?
Yeah, no, I, 100%, I agree. I know other communities along the North Shore, significant, and I believe Marathon are doing the same, bringing student councilors on their council as we speak. I mean, I believe it was just passed today, yesterday, maybe the day before, in the same vein, doing the same thing. So we're staying in step with what's happening along the North Shore. And I am absolutely a proponent of, you know, this, what you brought forward,
Yeah.
Chris, 100%.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's a great idea, and thanks for doing the work to make it happen.
No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the thoughts I really appreciate, one passion on it. I would agree with you on it, and just thanks for making it happen. And one of the thoughts I'm just having, questions I had was related to the process of how we arrived at to this candidate's name. And so appreciate you sharing that. I wonder future, like, I don't know when they, you would know this as a teacher, when they do their student council elections, if maybe we would have a nomination process as a part of their student elections, that perhaps the students themselves, just to increase the experience, we all put our name on a ballot every 4 years, and that would maybe be an opportunity. Or it is maybe from student, you know, we can come up with a plan. Just, you know, as this grows, it also solidifies our process for making sure we're not missing or forgetting about, or always having that space available.
And just to speak to that briefly, John and I did talk about it. We did go through the policy. So there actually is like sort of like a selection process, if you will, you know, writing an essay and whatnot, and then us discussing it. We administration and Mayor Malachowski came into the school 2 years ago and did a presentation for all the grade 9, 10s, and 11s. And I had one lukewarm student.
Yeah.
We've just to give you guys, like, you're not in the school, but so being in the school, the student council is evolved. There really isn't like presidents and vice presidents anymore. It's almost like a leadership, because they've adapted. Like we've realized that, like, you have your sports and student council and all this, and it's the same people. So why not have like a leadership sort of thing where they delegate it? So it's not like that anymore. However, I do agree with Lems, if there was another kid in grade 9 or 10 that was also interested that I didn't approach or whatever, then they're left out of it, which is why I kind of think that if we can gain some momentum here with Marley this year, then next year we can sort of put it out early in September, and then we can vote on it by this time, and then we can have another candidate potentially for next year. So I agree with that process being a little bit more formal next time around.
Yeah, I'm just speaking out loud a little bit.
No, definitely, I agree.
Thanks, much appreciated. So, motion moved by Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that council appoints Marley McGrath as the student councilor for 2025-2026 school year. Final questions or comments?
Just coming from administration, again, this was added to the agenda, why no report in more detail on how the policy and the whole process works. We tried this in past years, as Councilor Dubé just alluded to. We weren't making any headway, so that's why the suggestion was made there. Any associated costs with this will probably come in 2026. We no longer have NOMA and TBDML twice a year. So there's no conference to attend in the fall. Like TBDML used to be in November. We don't have that anymore. It's only once a year now. That's not an issue. I guess in the final thing, just if there is any bylaw or anything required, we can bring it forward to a future meeting. We couldn't find any requirement for that, so that's why it's just a motion to move. So,
All in favor? Carried. And 6.3, our Roma delegation, or E.
thank you, Mr. Chair. So these are released today. Actually, they came in via email. So the delegation requests are open. From administration's perspective, I would suggest we repeat the same ones we put in at AMO. Obviously, the mill and the forestry sector in general is an ongoing concern across Northwestern Ontario and Northeastern Ontario. Our own mill is obviously our main focus, but the industry as a whole is having trouble. And we want to keep as much pressure as we can on this current government, keep the momentum going with the opposition, try to facilitate an eventual, hopefully, sale with our mill and maintain the asset until that sale occurs. So I would definitely continue to seek out the Associate Ministry of Forestry, possibly the Minister of Natural Resources, but I believe because we requested forestry, they just route it through Kevin's ministerial office as opposed to going to Minister Harris. Thank you. The other one would be infrastructure. Infrastructure would be the top of my list for the request because we didn't get one at AMO, and that's still an important factor for us here in Terrace Bay. Most of the infrastructure funding that's been released in the last little while has been housing connected. And if you're not building new housing, we currently don't have operating mills, so housing demand is not, I don't want to say it's non-existent in Terrace Bay, but it's certainly not in high demand at the moment. So our infrastructure is maintaining what we have, continuing on from the previous programs of previous governments, including this one when they first came to power. So we need infrastructure funding that's not necessarily tied to building new housing. Ministry of Education, just to keep continuing the discussion with them with respect to establishing childcare here. That's been a long-standing project. We have made some headway with our partners. Hopefully something will be coming out soon on that. We are working with the DSAB now, but we're kind of we as a township, our role is not currently as active as it once was. So we will be asked probably for some financial support in the near future when that comes forward. We'll bring forward, but it's a good opportunity to sit down with the Ministry of Education and discuss those things. And I believe the last one is the Minister of Northern Economic Development. So we also took the mill issue to that minister on the aspect of the jobs. Sorry, the economic benefit to the region. We also tried to get the Minister Fideli. I can't remember the name of his ministry off the top of my head, but that was also a request we made. One was on the jobs and one was on the economy. And I think we should submit both of those again as well too, because this problem hasn't gone away. It's been since AMO, since we've been talking about this, been since Roma 2 years ago, since we've been talking about this. It's still an issue for us, and there's still hot button issues for us. So I would recommend we just resubmit that list, and then I'd leave it to council to suggest any others.
Really like to get into C Fidelity. I think we should roll the dice and try and get into C Mr. Harris.
Yeah.
Don't know how successful we'll be, because to your point, they may just rub this over to Kevin Holland, but I wouldn't mind seeing if we could sit with him to discuss the mill and some other forestry related issues.
Well, I did know the ONDP candidate there in Parliament resumed today, and she is trying to hold Kevin Holland's feet to the fire. I don't know if you were watching it was on from 1 till 6 today to Parliamentary channel. It's quite anyway. She is trying her best to help us out. You know, she names us right in her deputation that what you're doing to cap paper and and then Deer Falls is,
Yeah.
in the ditch now too, and I mean, there's a huge impact, the same as the huge impact, as here is in Terrace Bay, so. The ONDP, like I say, candidate, the usual saw is, trying to hold, his feet to the fire, and hopefully we'll, hear something in the not so distant future.
Yeah, it's forestry thing, it's hanging off a cliff right now. The rumor is Nakina's probably going down too. It's nothing official, nothing announced, but the guys that are working there are telling me that's the grumblings they're hearing from their managers.
Yeah, I mean, my only thought to go to the Minister Harris would be just to tell the story. So I mean, Gap and Ear Falls are recent. By the time Roma comes, it'll be over 2 years for us.
Yeah.
And so, you know, having the opportunity to share our story of what 2 years later, what's life like, maybe a different perspective. So I'd be in favor of supporting going there.
I think, yeah, because there's
And we do meet with Kevin a little more regularly outside of conferences too, so.
there's a story to be told there, even point, because for the pulp mill running we buy X amount of chips from all these sawmills, which helps keep them going too, right? That's a residual sale to them. That's what helps pay a lot of their bills.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, if we're gonna request a delegation with Minister Harris, I think we have to craft a really good story of the necessity of industry and forestry in general. But
On topic, off topic, going back to the childcare piece, one of the takeaways from when we met with the Ministry of Education at AMO in Ottawa was meeting with Heidi about, because she is the Minister of Jobs, and a lot of our concerns are about staffing and having capacity to run the place, and that we should be meeting with Minister Heidi. And so potentially, like, again, related but not related to this conference delegation for this conference, but like potentially if we were able to set up a meeting with Patty and say, here's something that's affecting us here, and could the Minister of Jobs help? I think that might be a good thing to look into as well.
any other delegation? No?
The only one I would suggest would be the NDP caucus. We've met with them quite frequently, and it's been productive.
Yeah.
We give them our perspective on sort of the way they're approaching the mill and other issues. But it's good conversation. So
Yeah, I had that on my list as well, to suggest that we do that. And to your point, Bill, some of the things that our MVP has said in the House is directly related to meeting with their caucus and meetings with her as well. And she's been very good to listen when we said, you know, push, but not too hard.
Yeah.
Push, you know, she's been really good to understand our perspective on that. So, yeah, I agree. Well, if there's any other suggestions,
When's the window close on that? When do they want?
the 18th of November.
Okay.
So
So I would think by the next meeting,
we do have one more meeting. You're correct. Yeah. So
yeah. Okay, so you got 2 weeks to figure out.
Potentially 2
Want to add it.
potentially 2 meetings.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so
for us for now, for administration's perspective, we will put the ones in we've discussed tonight.
Okay.
And if any come forward, you still have the opportunity until the 18th of November to suggest to us. So
Okay.
thank you. Right, moving to our agenda, welcome community development manager to the table tonight. Welcome, Katie.
Nice. So as part of my role, I had a meeting went to hold a meeting with the community development committee. Our very committed Horse Progress came, and in the meantime, we've had some resignations from that committee. Councilor Dubé also pointed out that we have had someone else leave in the last year as well. So the Community Development Committee has historically been a committed group who have supported the mobilization of projects like the Downtown Revitalization, the Waterfront Development Project, and many other significant projects throughout our community. So 2, likely more like 3, have recently resigned their position, and it is in council's interest to advertise for new members to support the ongoing work of the CDC. So administration is seeking council support to recruit and assign 2 or 3 members to the Community Development Committee. Advertisement and recruitment to occur through the Township of Terrace Bay website, social media portals, interviews, and potential candidates to be brought forward to council for final assignment. So financial implications are none. So the options on the table are to approve the recruitment and appointment of 2 or 3 new members of the Community Development Committee. And option number 2 is do not approve the community, the approval and appointment of 2 new members for the Community Development. And direct administration hours.
Thank you. Any questions for Katie Smith?
No, other than, I agree with you, I think this community development is very important and it should be at capacity. Because to your point, they are the ones that drive what we do. So I would like to see that committee fully.
Yeah, if anyone has recommendations of people that they think in the community would be, someone that wanted to bring some new fresh energy and new excitement to it. I have a few people that I have in mind as well, so.
I can think of a couple offhand and then I'll just tell them, watch for an advertisement, but, yeah, I think it's so important because you're right, they drive a lot of the things we do in town projects. So.
For sure, it's been quite amazing to see some of the work that they've done in collaboration with us.
Cool. How many people are on the committee? Sorry.
So right now, I would say there's 4.
Okay.
Including the administration.
Okay.
So, it would be nice to have 7 or 8.
Yeah. Okay. I was just more curious and I think
Yeah, when this first came to the agenda, I sent Katie an email just because I just happened to remember early on we had a member resign and then we had one move away. So we're actually 4 members short from where we were at the beginning of the term of this council. And so as the council rep on the committee, I do feel like I owe council a bit of an apology for not even thinking of fetching need to replace those members early on. But here we are. And so thank you, Katie, for moving this forward.
Resignations, to be fair, happened in the last month or 2.
Yeah, exactly.
With
Those
both of the
2 new words. Yeah.
resignations, so.
Yeah, I just, the reason I say what I do is just, had we had replaced those members earlier on, we maybe wouldn't be here today having to do it now. It's, it is what it is, but just thank you for moving this forward. And thanks for being part of the team, moving this charge forward. So our motion tonight moved by, any final questions? No. But motion tonight moved by Councilor St. Louis, seconded by Councilor Dubé. Resolve that council approve the recruitment of new members to the Community Development Committee and that applications be brought forward to a future meeting for council approval. All in favor? Carried. All right, Tourist Information Center roof project update.
So I wanted to provide an update for everyone because I know people are starting to sort of wonder what's happening with our Tourist Information Center. So I'll provide a little bit of the history just because a lot of stuff has happened. So in June 2025, Northern Sheet Metal came to replace the roof on the Tourist Information Center as per our NOHFC contract funding agreement. When they began taking the metal off, it was discovered the plywood on the gable ends was rotten and needed replacing. The KGS engineer asked another company, RML, to explore the walls of the Tourist Information Center and discovered that there was also significant rotten plywood at the corners of the building. So they suspected that it's been dripping backwards through the building for over many years. In addition, there's significant heaving on the northwest side of the building, preventing the door in that area from opening. So as you know, there's some rock cliff there. The land tends to be a little bit dipped. They probably needed drainage there. That's never happened. When KGS was here finalizing the cultural center roof on September 20th, I requested that the engineer, Mr. Molotko, and the NSM representative look at the building to provide us next steps and move forward with the completion of the roof or at least closing it to further damage before the winter. So where we are now is Mr. Molotko from KGS followed up with my request for a quote to repair the plywood both best and worst case scenarios. So best being the fascia, so the pieces that you can see exposed right now, and the trusses, and the worst being the entire deck of the roof, or in essence, the whole roof. At this time, I also requested that we move forward with completing the roof before winter. The fellow from NSF said that it was not likely that we would do the roof before winter because it's steep. They were concerned about frost. But I said, we definitely needed to close it out before the winter. It was agreed with KGS and NSM that they would at least close the roof to prevent further issues over the winter. Mr. Walhacko stated that he would also have the company close the brick areas on the wall that were removed. An agreed date was October 20th, so I actually put the brakes on them coming today, so just so that I can present it to you. because things have kind of evolved, so. In the week after KGS and NSM reviewed the Tourist Information Center, I received a quote for approximately $81,000 for both the fascia and the roof deck. The fascia, which of course is that best case scenario, is approximately $35,000. And it was discovered that there were both rotten and inadequate trusses. It's unclear at this time whether the roof deck would need to be replaced. They think that likely in the valleys, so where the roof comes together in the points, that it could have potentially gathered water there. So there was improper barrier put on it back in the day, which is just was the practice at the time. It's speculated there may be some water damage around the screws, so that would be another reason that that water barrier or that vapor barrier would have been, more modernized today. The $81,000 is the cost to replace the entire roof and underlay. We should anticipate that replacing the whole roof is a possibility. The current funding that we have doesn't cover these costs, and a secondary funding source would need to be explored. So I would need to look at, there is a contingency, but it's not enough to cover that. So I would look at having to apply for another funding source. Another financial challenge that we're facing in this project, and why we didn't maybe scrap it and go to a whole new project or a bigger project to look at both the roof and the walls, is that the materials had already been purchased. So we're $47,000 into this project at this time. So the total project is approximately $190,000, covered at 90% through our NOHSC grant. It's unclear how an understanding of the underlying roof condition was not mitigated before purchasing the materials. This has become a little bit more clear in the last week, sort of how that may have happened. KGS's stance is that it was unavoidable. So we can scratch that it isn't forthcoming. We're working on an answer to that. In the past month, I've had 3 other independent contractors come and give opinion and quotes for possible repairs of both the roof and the walls on the Tourist Information Center. So I'm building right now on that possibility of that second funding. Funding sources such as Specmar can provide a solution for the rest of the building. We discussed the TIC in a previous update to council and mentioned that the inside has no signs of water issues, so they never had to use a dehumidifier. There's no water damage to the walls or anything like that inside. Staff doesn't complain of it being wet or musty. It's quite an attractive building. It still maintains its integrity and appeal on the inside. So the Tourist Information Center is a well-utilized facility that acts as a conduit of information for visitors to our community, so leading them to businesses and attractions. And it should be noted that that building is was only built in 1991. So the options I'm proposing tonight is number 1, close the roof and walls for the winter and apply for a secondary funding source to replace the plywood on the fascia and roof deck if needed. Use this funding source to repair the walls of the Tourist Information Center and extend the life of this building for many years. So looking at a full repair of the building. Option 2 is discontinue the project knowing that we will incur $47,000 of roofing material and other costs. Explore funding to repair the entire building in a larger grant. So we have that option to say we don't want this grant anymore, but we would incur those costs ourselves. And then option number 3 is sort of in addition to that, do nothing with the building moving forward and consider options for a Tourist Information Center new or not at all. So my recommendation is that we move forward with closing the building for the winter, utilizing our current grant and contractors, and explore funding sources to offset the new costs and other repairs.
Thanks, Katie. Much appreciated. Any questions from council?
So everything we're looking at now is that with northern sheet metal and everything up, that's all part of the grant we already have. And if we say, like I talked to John earlier, and I said, would it be an option to just go out and re-tender it and come back again because the scope has changed, that we could lose that grant if we do that, right? Because we're basically saying we want to start from scratch. So we really don't.
We don't use the grant. We would actually have to actively say that we're discontinuing that grant. So we have that conversation. And I've talked with NOHSC all the way along. Certainly that's not their recommendation when we're this much money in.
Right.
So the second grant would be through another source, but they would still work together. So we would have to change the scope of work still. So we would have to say like, okay, so this is actually now like a $500,000 project, But NOHFC is taking care of these parts, and let's say in theory, Fedor is taking care of these parts.
Right.
With the idea of kind of replacing that whole building. I mean, the other option is to own $47,000 or 40, let's say, of roofing material. And you know, rebuild the project and use that material in the future with another.
So you would go out, look for another source of revenue,
Yes.
and then you would have to go out and do another. What do you call it? Tender for that work.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're probably looking at, or potentially looking at, is two different outfits working on that building. Either together or
Yeah.
one after the other, right? Because we're gonna, if I understand this right, we're gonna close the roof in for now because of the weather. But we do plan on putting the roof on in the spring.
Yes.
So that building, that grant we have now, we're not saying we don't want it, we're starting over, we're saying we're pushing ahead with that part, with the sheet metal. Okay, and then we're gonna take, well, you're going to go look and see what else we can find for other grants. To do more repairs, like
Right.
if we have to do the deck and if we want to start doing walls. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm working on that now, like
Yeah.
I've had 3 companies come out and take a look at it and give me opinion and their building quotes as we speak. So we kind of know a little bit of what mostly what the scope of work will be, right? Because we've had a high level quote of $500,000 for those walls. Everyone that I've met with has been much less than that. But now that we know what's under those walls, we are sort of in a position of needing to look at repairing them.
Right.
So.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's a good chance we'll do this in like 2 steps. We'll do it. The roof, which we've already approved, and then whatever we can find for funding to do the rest of the work. So we go for another tender for that, if we get lucky enough to get money. And can live with the price already. Okay.
And we will invite KGS to give us their feedback and offer quotes or offer recommendations. We don't necessarily have to use KGS and NSM with a secondary project. We could separate out the projects and look at a new engineer, a new company, or not using an engineer at all, using a construction manager. There's some different possibilities that.
Yeah, so right.
So just one quick question, Katie, thank you for your report. You said you didn't want the AGM to come and do any work today because of perhaps frost that was on the roof. And so my own question.
No, actually, I asked KGS not to come and close the roof up today, just because I wanted to bring it to council first, because they wanted to do a change order, adding $36,000 to the project, which we don't. So they were coming to kind of repair everything, and my understanding was they were coming to close it, so I wanted to have the discussion with you first.
Yeah, good. So like, what we have there right now, how much further are we going to be going with that?
So what will happen is, if council approves, the option that I presented, then KGS will come on Monday, not KGS, NSM, as per KGS, will come on Monday, and they're gonna blue skin and fix some of the roofing material on the outside and trusses, which is money within the project, right? So they've offered me another quote today, just around what that will cost to close it up for winter, not repairing everything, but just protecting it from further damage.
That's my concern,
Yeah.
closing up for the winter,
Yeah.
so that we don't have any further damage.
Yeah.
Very much.
And they're ready to mobilize on the 27th.
Thank you.
That's good. Any final questions? Okay, I'll read the motion. If there's a question that comes up, I'll ask before we vote, but. So moved by Councilor St. Louis, seconded by Councilor Dubé. Resolve that council move forward with closing of the Tuition Information Center building for the winter, utilizing the current grant and contractors, and explore other funding sources to offset the new costs associated with the take roof structure and the outer wall repairs. That clear? Questions? All in favor? Carried. Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Communications, we have for us the Swiss Amber campaign. Sorry, the computer sideways to read it, it's fine, if we read it yet, but it's
It's supposed to do that automatically, I'm not sure why.
yeah.
It recognizes the text.
Where the arrows is.
You can rotate in the
the
web browser too, but.
So, just a request for a donation from council for the Christmas hamper campaign.
Just gonna do it. Here's a jip.
So I guess you could stand all that.
Yeah.
And sound plus. Or not. It's all good. Yeah, so they've asked this request a number of times
Yeah.
over the years, so if there's an amount that we are wanting to donate, so we're looking forward to voting tonight.
What have we done previously?
Last we've done 500.
Yeah.
And so that,
Okay.
I have no problem with replicating what we've done in the past. The only question I have, Gary, is, with the way things are going in this world today, is that enough? Does it go far enough? You know, I don't know, there's a number of people in the community, both Scriber and Case Flat, that, you know, use the harvest coverage. You know, these people are doing great work, so I reached out to Linda and Louise and they were just saying to me, you know, like, they were, no dollar value was ever exchanged by any of them. I just asked simply, is there an uptick? I mean, you watch the general news nowadays, I mean, people coming to food banks, it's just unbelievable. The uptick in participation. My only question is, does that go far enough for us? Just a question.
So in your conversation, when you asked if they have seen the uptick,
They have seen it.
the uptick.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
There's more and more, you know, using that facility. Just because of the climate we're living in, so to speak, for lack of a better term.
Okay. Did you happen to talk about the Hamburg program specifically? And
Just generally
speaking, okay. Any thoughts from Councilor Dubé or Councilor St. Louis?
No, I think we'd stay, I would find 500 again.
Any number thoughts doing 500?
500 is good for me, yeah.
Okay. So I'll read the motion, resolve that, or moved by Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor St. Louis, resolve that council approve a donation of $500 to the Christmas hamper campaign. Any final questions or thoughts? All in favor? Bylaws. Moved by Councilor St. Louis, seconded by Councilor Dubé, resolved that council approved bylaw 31-2025 to authorize the township to enter into an agreement for the sale of surplus property, roll number 5854-000000103301, Plan M225 Lot 10, South Camp Road, to be read first, second, third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the 20th day of October 25. All in favor? Carried. Any question period? Any questions online tonight? In the room? So,
I just need some clarification and some understanding, and it may be a very stupid question, but here we go. You have a wonderful parking lot over there for presumably trucks and vans and what cars. You have a tourist information center over here. In the middle, we have food. How is this supposed to work?
you're referring to new MTO lot?
Just
Yeah.
people that have to walk over the bridge while their cars parked over there to get food and miss the tourist information center, and it just seems discombobulated to me.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Okay, so we own the tourist information center and the province owns the new parking lot that they built, and that was the lot that the province chose and asked to build the parking lot on. So,
So we can talk. It's okay.
sorry, I missed that.
You don't seem to communicate. It just seems not convenient.
Yeah, so not to get too far in the weeds on it, the intention of the MTO wanting the parking lot really is particularly overnight parking when the businesses would be closed anyway. And so I'll probably just leave it at that.
And when the highway's closed, because they've been keeping everybody in Nipigon, right? And so when the highway's closed, say like between here and Marathon, from my understanding was like, there's a spot for them to go besides, well, how many times have we seen the highway closed and everybody's just parked up on the road here? I'm personally I'm hoping that this new parking lot will actually potentially spur development in that area.
Yeah.
So you've got that Tasty, which is in some sort of a limbo, I'm not entirely sure. You've got the SPG, which technically, if I'm not mistaken, the guy still owns it. Wouldn't that be a spot? Wouldn't that be great if you started selling fuel again on the card? Maybe, it opens up that area for development, in my opinion, potentially. So, like you could hope like, oh, maybe next door to it, everybody's like, oh, we need a Tim Hortons, but it does, it opens that whole part of town up to like development and whatnot by it being there. You're right, is it perfect? But again, like there's been a lot of complaints from the community members about trucks parking at the Canco, right? And how dangerous that is. I bring my kids to school that way all the time. I've had trucks pulling out in the wintertime, almost hit them, they almost hit me, et cetera, et cetera. And I think looking at like the complaints and trucks idling there, to have them moved out might be good, like get food, maybe go out there or stay there and come into town. Is it ideally placed with restaurants around it? No, but maybe there's like the Field of Dreams concept, like build it and they will come potentially. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but there's a potential for expanding that way. So thanks for listening. The mayor was here, he would have cut me off a while ago. Yeah.
I don't know how Paul does it, he just does it.
Yeah.
That seems a bit more sense.
Any questions online?
Just checking if there's any questions online. Now would be the time to input them. Going twice. Third and final time. Thank you very much. No questions online, Mr. Chair.
More today? Thanks. Fantastic. Motion by Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that the next regular meeting of council is to be held on November 3rd, 2025. All in favor? Finally, tonight, moved by Councilor Dubé, seconded by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that we now adjourn at 19:27. All in favor?